This is JR from West Virginia and Commonplace. This episode is entitled Heartache. This is actually my third take on this episode. For some reason, with the video, things have been going crazy. So let's go into this. 3 episodes for this love series: Heartache, Heartbreak, and Heart Attack. Heartbreak's already been recorded. I had recorded Heartache earlier, but somehow, through all the stuff that I've been doing while I'm on vacation, I lost it. So here we go. Heartache is the worst thing for me. Heartbreak, I can go through. A heart attack, if something happens in your life, not like a heart attack where your heart literally bursts, but something in life that makes you feel like you have a heart attack, I can deal with that. Heartache is something that lingers. Heartache comes from a lot from for me from a place of disappointment, from a failed attempt at something that I can't get another attempt at. So we start off later on in life. My son landed with his mother. That was my first heartache. Not about her, definitely not about her, but about the situation, because I sat there, built a life that later on I was told that I messed up. We had a child early on in life. We planned our child. Like, it wasn't like we just sat there and said, "Hey, we're going to just make a baby for random reason." We decided we wanted to have a child together. And later on, she told me that I robbed her of her youth, the 20s, where she could go around and do things that she wanted to and have fun and all that other stuff. So with that being said, we still broke up in our 20s, or at least in her 20s. I was in my 30s. Well, yeah, something like that, whatever. Um, but I built a life around having a family. I wanted to be a father. I did everything that I could do right. I did have some foul ups and some wrong stuff about me, but nothing in the arena of what she did to me. We're not going to go tit for tat for that, but that was my first heartache there. Basically, I went out here in the world. I decided that, hey, I want to be with this person. I want to have a child. I want to live life to a degree. And she had other things planned. She had decided at some point that I was no longer worthy of the title of being around her or whatever she wanted. So she went out, found somebody new. We split up. She went about her business. Am I bitter? No. But did people have to suffer for the consequences of that heartache? Yes. All the people from after that. The very next lady I dated, I went on the internet dating scene and tried to try that out, and I found out that I'm not that person. I'm that bread and butter person. I'm old school. I don't date like that. That's a different space for a different person and a different time. And I dated this person, and this person was not what I was supposed to be with. And I was her weekend dude. So being her weekend dude, it all worked out pretty fine. See her on the weekend, whatever. But when it came time for that normal 9 to 5 relationship, wasn't getting it there. So I played along with it for a year, thinking that it would change. Didn't change, so I kind of walked away from that. So that's not necessarily part of the heartache, but that's a result of the heartache there. So I went on, and I was hurt. So I got hurt from that heartache, and I lashed out in how I was to people and how I did things. It wasn't that I was rude or anything, but I was very helpful to all, but not helpful to myself. So from there, I went on and dabbled around in the world of dating. Then I met somebody. We started dating. And because I was still hurting, I had that heartache. I didn't get over that heartache, that pain, that lingering stuff. It carried over into that relationship too. And one minor flaw I found in that relationship caused me to open up a can of worms. And when I opened up that can of worms, I saw a lot of worms in there that I did not like. So I assumed that it was time for that to expire like milk too. But I didn't want it to expire because I liked the things that were going on. So I met somebody in between that. And then I ran off with that person. And me and that person had a whirlwind romance. And then that person, by chances and circumstances that were not of our own, they were gone, from me. So I had a heartache from that. And then that relationship in between that, I had a heartache from that because that person, I really cared about them too. And I loved them. And I didn't do the right things by that person. Got a second chance, so we're living life now. But heartache bothered me because in some of the instances, at least 2 of them in the adult life, I didn't have a chance to fix anything. The first one with the baby's mama, I wasn't going to fix that. That was an easy way out. So I was so happy to get the easy way out that I was able to walk away. That was the first selfish thing I ever did in my life that I'm still proud of to this day. It was an easy out, didn't have to work out nothing. we don't, you don't work out with nothing with someone that cheats on you. I don't care. Um, in that instance, other people, because I am a cheater myself, um, or I have cheated on someone, we worked it out. But in that instance with that person, this person had malintent and they had an intention to keep doing what they were doing, and she wasn't going to stop. So, nah, had to let her, go like the Keisha Cole song said. Should have let her go a long time ago. So through all these heartaches, I used those heartaches as benchmarks for relationships. Like you had to be a certain way. If you did like that person before, I had to get rid of you. Instead of thinking about myself personally, what did you do to cause some of this heartache on yourself? What clause in the contract did you mess up on? What part did you do? Because you have to have accountability across the board. And that's something that I didn't do. I didn't have accountability across the board. I wanted to blame someone else for my problems without me dealing with my problems. So it doesn't work like that in the real world. You have to get out here and take responsibility for what you do. And then you can't worry about the other person does, because if they do something wrong and do you dirty, you have a chance to walk away. You have an option to walk away. So heartache has bothered me a lot. When I was younger, since we're going to go ahead and do that, my father died when I was 8 years old. Great man. Everybody spoke good about him. I heard about his demons and different things like that, because you got to hear the bad, good, and ugly, and everything else that's in between. And I missed him, but I didn't start having heartache and pain until my teenage years, when I was playing sports and I had events and people had their fathers there to help them. I didn't have somebody to toss the football with, and it wasn't by my choice. I was busy doing other things. My sister was part of the marching band, so I followed her around and everything she was doing. And I had people around, other kids. So we played sports together. So we came up. But when it came time for special stuff, when I would get awards and things like that, my mom tried her best to split time between me and my sister. But my sister needed my mom more than me. And at an early age, I realized that, because I was more sociable and people were accepting of me. People would be around, but people weren't around for the collective times when I really needed somebody. And that's my choice in life too. I got to take I took responsibility for that as an adult, because I realized that I could have told someone like, "Hey, do you got time to really come to this event? Would you mind going with me when I go do this wrestling tournament or blah blah blah?" But I had wrestling coaches and I had people there that admired what the sport was, and they were uplifting. But that true family support didn't have it there. And it's not about because of my choice of my mom or anything, because if you got a kid in marching band, they got to travel, they go to meets and different things. You got to be there with them. You got to be on point. So I didn't hold that against my mom, because my mom made sure I had every single thing I needed and what I wanted. And she encouraged me to do anything I wanted. And she was the one person, no matter what went on in my life, she always stuck with me when it came to my video games. When I got good at Street Fighter 2, when I was beating them up, she made sure that the stuff that she could be there for, she was there for, you know. And we get further and further into stuff, and just from that point on, I have my dad. That kind of made me want to help people more. From that heartache there, it made me turn into a more rounded person when it came to my mental ambitions and my mental conquests. I had to learn, and then I learned this from a therapist and stuff like that. I learned about the colors. My favorite color is purple. It's got red and blue in it. You can signify or you can designate whatever you want to each color. So me personally, red is something we associate with the color, with the substance of blood. Blue I'll leave with the skies. So happy times, and you got the crimson red for the bad times. You put them both together, you get purple. And that's the type of person I had to become with the heartache and all that stuff. I learned that, I'm gonna have them blue skies and them happy times. And sometimes I'm gonna be sad. Things are gonna happen. But I gotta get through those things. And luckily now in today's society, we got way more support than we did 10 years ago, or even 8 years ago. Pandemic and stuff like that has called people to get more closeted with their mental health. So there's people that want to help now. But beforehand, man, there wasn't nobody out there like that. You dealt with your shit, or you had some special people. Like me, in my case, I had a special person. And once again, I'm not saying that I caused people to die or anything like that, but it was one person that was trained in psychology, a psychiatrist, or whatever she was. She helped me out. She listened to what I needed to, and she didn't ever tell me anything wrong, but she told me to think of things from a different perspective. And the perspective she gave me, and even helping me with my heartache, was you could be wrong somewhere. You may not be right about everything. So be cautious and careful how you present that. Because if you present it a certain way, people are going to just walk all over it and not take care of you. So be careful, because you may think that you're healing it a certain way, uh, unveiling all this stuff to certain people, and you could be just lining yourself up for another bit of pain or something like that. So being cautious, but I have channels, I have ways to take care of that stuff. Now, to wrap this up and to finish up the heartache portion of this, um, haven't had much more heartache after all that. I have learned to stay in my zone, do what I do, and not get too far out there into places that I don't belong. So now I'm more well-rounded. I don't help people as much as I used to. I have a close circle of the people that I'm gonna help, and then outside of that, I stick to my business. I don't worry with what's not for me, and that has become the case in everything that I'm doing now. It's about me and about the people that care about me. I can't go on and try to help people and try to get into places that I don't belong, because when I do that, that's what hurts me, and that's what hurts the circle and all. Trying to go out here and be more than what I am. So that's the heartache. I'm JR from West Virginia Commonplace. Definitely check us out on TikTok. Check us out on Tumblr. Check us out any and everywhere you want to. Go over to www.westvirginiacommonplace.com. Join the mailing list. We'll send out some letters, get you involved, and we'll go on from there. So thank you all for your support.